So I really hate people who claim to channel spirits and then just channel things of their own mind but pretend that it's from somewhere else to make it seem more intelligent. I really don't like this. I think it's a bunch of nonsense, bullshit. I don't believe in it. I think they're just trying to get attention, trying to make people think that they have more importance because they have all this knowledge that other people don't know. I don't like this type of person, but at the same time I've got nothing else to do with my time, so why not do another video where I look at people who pretend to channel other people, or other spirits, should I say.
And will they leave on their own, or somebody else will want to come in during a session?
So it depends on the questions, actually. The questions kind of determine who is going to answer. They'll all open up to everyone, and they'll say who is going to answer that question. Or I guess I'll feel who's going to answer that question. And then if you want to ask, I can try to remember to tell you, but I might not. So if you want to ask.
All right. Sounds good. And how do you go in? What's your process?
I kind of just set the space and relax my body and zoom out my consciousness. And then I'll tell you when I'm ready.
Okay.
Great.
Who is speaking right now?
It is still me. It depends on the question.
Got it. How do you see humanity's current consciousness path?
The 3 guides will come through. We see it as a constant unfoldment, an evolution of where humanity has been and where humanity can go. There are infinite spirals that can be taken, like a staircase that goes up infinitely, or goes sideways, or goes downways. It depends on your perspective. Humanity can have and take any stair that it wants, any path that it wishes it can take. We are here to guide humanity toward the spiral that is reaching to what you would consider to be the highest evolution, the highest unfoldment, the path that brings humanity closer to their true nature, to God, to the Creator, to the All.
It is interesting how you say that, because I am God, but I would say the exact opposite. I don't think that humanity's consciousness is really changing or evolving or shaping or going in any direction other than just in circles. I feel like humanity is just a slightly evolved version of animal life. Animals have basic instincts, and humans are no more than more intelligent animals. They're animals that have the same basic instincts that all the different types of animals have, and likewise humanity is a big collective of different people with different personalities, different vibes, different belief systems, different way of seeing things, just in the same way that animals are. So I wouldn't say that humanity is kind of like a collective thing or going in any direction. I would say that humanity is very similar to animality. Yeah, that's not even a word, is it? But it's, there's bears have different instincts to lions, and gazelles have different instincts to butterflies and stuff like this, and in that same way humanity is just an extension of that, only we speak, we talk, we understand, we can talk better, we have better ways of communication. So there's a lot of things that have evolved, and there's a lot of things that humanity is better than animals, but in a way the consciousness is actually very similar to that of animals, because we still fear, we still have this need to act on greed and to only protect our family and not care about the other families, or only want to do things or act in our own best interest. But humanity I see as being a really horrible thing, and I don't feel like it's really evolving or changing or growing. I feel like there's just more and more people, that's it. It's not humanity is growing. I think humanity now is very similar to how it was in the Roman days. Okay, it's different from the Anglo-Saxon days because that was very violent. But if you look at places in the Middle East, I feel like the attitudes towards a lot of things is very similar to how the attitudes of the Anglo-Saxons were. So is humanity really evolving and going in different paths? No, I don't think it is. I just think that there's more humans on Earth, and the different countries, the different areas, the different tribes, so to speak, are all going in different directions because of they are all evolving. But yeah, to say that humanity as a whole is evolving, I really don't think that's the truth. I believe that reincarnation is the truth, and everyone has their path, and someone who is living 10 lives is going to be far more intelligent than someone living their first life. And okay, someone living their first life now is probably going to be far more intelligent than someone who's living their first life 2,000 years ago. because we have a lot more technology and lots better education, and we have a lot more things that we can learn and things that we can do. But yeah, it's not really going in a path. I see the timeline, but I wouldn't say that it's really, I wouldn't agree with your interpretation of it. And you have this big belief that humanity are working together to create something amazing, whereas I would actually think you just keep dividing yourself into more and more different paths, just like the animals did. When animals started evolving, they started developing themselves into different species, different types of animals, different types of animal or cold-blooded, warm-blooded, and in that same way humanity is evolving in the same sort of way that animal life evolved, and everyone is just going in different directions. And but yeah, that's the consciousness is becoming more aware of things, yes, and we're understanding things, but some people aren't, and some people think they understand things but they don't, they're just lying, and therefore it's complicated. But I wouldn't say it's in the same way you said it.
What signs do you see that we are actually moving towards a higher consciousness?
The choice for humanity to consider themselves to be in their heart more often than not. There is an extreme distortion when it comes to feelings and emotions, but this, in fact, is a path of evolution. It is a step toward what humanity needs to understand, which is that the heart is the most powerful piece of the body. The heart is what can guide humanity and guide each individual to their highest timeline and to the highest timeline for the collective.
The heart is important because it pumps blood around the body, so you need it to survive. I think you're talking about heart as in feelings and passion, and over time people can gain this, yes, but it's not really collective whole. It's about kind of the number of lives, the number of experiences. At the beginning you'll be more like animals. Animals are not really trained or programmed to love, unless of course they're a pet, in which case they are trained to do that. But wild animals are not trained to love, they're not trained to see these things as being good. And when animal souls become human souls, they too have the animal ways, so don't believe that love or feelings are important. But this has just caused loads and loads of problems, because if you have parents that don't give a shit about you, they might whip you and stuff, and you might have a very horrible childhood, and you might grow up hating your parents, and you might realize that actually I don't want to have children and for me to do things to them, and then for me to grow up and find that my children hate me. But unfortunately this sort of consciousness and this understanding and belief has taken such a long time for it to really embed into people. And I think the problem was that the population was just getting really, really big too fast. Lots and lots of, especially in the Victorian times, a lot of more kids were being born. Everyone was promoting the idea of be fruitful and multiply, meaning having lots and lots of babies. So all you were doing was taking more and more animal souls into human bodies and making more and more humans. But because these humans were once animals, animals are not trained, wild animals, particularly not pets I'm talking about, but wild animals are not trained to think that love or emotions or feelings are good. And so then when these souls come into the human body, they have the wrong idea of what's right and what's wrong, because as an animal, you're trained to hunt and kill, and that's how you survive. So you start seeing hunting and killing as being a good thing. Hence, when you become a human, you might also start thinking that hunting and killing other humans is also a good thing, which is why so many wars happen. What was the question again? Actually, we've gone off. The question was something about, let's find out. What are the signs that we're reaching a higher consciousness? Well, I would say that the signs are that you have technology. Some people have been able to create the internet and really high technology stuff. So obviously the consciousness has been uplifted because of this. And there's a lot of singers that seem to be connecting with me through time and space, and I don't really know how this has happened. So obviously they've got a high awareness of my spirit or what I'm doing during my life, hence why I'm able to do things during my daily life and then listen to songs and find that they are actually relating to me in my daily life. So I feel like the singers are showing a high level of consciousness, but I think the average person is not showing a high level of consciousness. I feel like a lot of people are in ways robots still, because they think they're reaching a higher level of consciousness, but really they're not.
The heart holds secrets, and the heart holds power. And understanding the feelings, understanding the emotions, is how to understand the emotional power of the heart, and the energetic power of the heart, and the language of the heart, which all of humanity must learn to speak if there is to be ultimate unity and collaboration on the planet. This is what we see is the step that humanity has taken, the perspective to orient towards feelings, towards the heart, more than the mind, more than the choices that dictate or govern the animal body or instincts.
I don't really agree with what you just said about the heart, because a lot of people have a lot of sick desires. You know, some people who are sexual addicts or something would seek sex as being what their heart desires, and therefore you kind of got to be careful when you say it. You know, a cake lover loves cake, and you could say seeking your heart is how you get a fulfilled life. And okay, if you seek cake because you love cake, you will get a happy life because cake is very easy to get. But that doesn't necessarily mean that your consciousness is any higher. And if you do seek your love or passions, that doesn't necessarily mean that your consciousness is higher. But on the other hand, sometimes you're fed what's that serotonin, which makes you feel happy, which is a sort of happiness drug. But yeah, that's not really heart. That's more passion and following careers and drives in wanting to be fulfilled in doing something that you love. So I guess you're saying that you have to feel what you seek and what you love, but you've got to be careful who you say that to, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that have a misinterpretation of seeking your desires.
How can we contribute to humanity's consciousness evolution?
By learning to speak the language of your own heart, by learning to understand what lies in your heart and what is controlling you, making you, in certain ways, act or behave or make certain choices, understanding how this operates in your own being at your own level, and then making a different choice.
Yeah, or you could just get a good job, go to school, try and work in a community centre. You know, there's quite a lot of things you can do to try and help your community. It doesn't necessarily mean following your heart and passion, because that's usually can be rooted in self-desire and self-satisfaction. But yeah, I don't think what you're saying is coming from anyone else other than yourself. So to say all this and think that this is, I don't know, you channeling three beings from another realm. I don't. Why are you doing that? Why are you saying that this information is coming from other realms when it's obviously just coming from your own views and your own choices of wanting to say this stuff?
Making a choice that is part of the contribution to the whole, that is beyond yourself, is how you can contribute to humanity.
I would actually say it would be better to stay true to yourself. You know, if you were staying true to yourself, you wouldn't be telling people right now that what you're saying is coming from spirits from another realm. You know, you need to be honest to people about where these voices are coming from, which is to say that they are just coming from your head. You know, right now you are contributing information to the public because people are watching these videos, but you're not contributing the right information. You're contributing things from yourself, but you're claiming that they're from other people, and you're telling people that other people need to do what you are doing, which is to...
Part of the contribution to the whole that is beyond yourself is how you can contribute to humanity.
Contribute things to the community, but don't say that you're doing it for yourself. Say that you're doing it because of other people. So you're just encouraging lots of people to also channel and pretend that they're talking for other people when really they're talking about themselves. You're just going to be confusing people, you know.
Not making a choice that only thinks of oneself, that only says that I am at the center, but rather that I am is the center. This is how each individual can move forward, can contribute, and each being finds their own way toward this I am presence. Each being finds the path and energy that is most aligned to them. Some find it in nature, in the woods. They feel the presence of I am.
This I am is supposed to be a reference to God, but people are just using it so that they can claim that they are God, because they am and I am. I am and I am. You know, I can say this, I am who I am, and likewise you can say who I am, and therefore you can use this claim as a way of saying that you're God. Oh God, I hate this word. Anyway, what you say here is supposed to be talking about God, and yet God is me. I am a living person on earth, and people are finding their way to me through songs and stuff, but they're not finding it through trees, they're not finding it through just believing in I am, or even through religion. They're believing in Jesus, they're not believing in me. If I tell them that I'm Christ, they wouldn't believe me. So what you're saying is not the truth.
Each being finds their own way toward this I am presence. Each being finds the path and energy that is most aligned to them. Some find it in nature, in the woods. They feel the presence of I am. They are beyond their human story when they are with the trees or when they are swimming in the ocean. Others find it in acts of service, by volunteering, by working with groups or individuals. They become larger than themselves. Their story does not become the most important thing.
It's true that singers work with record companies. Record companies have created these singers and their characters and their songs, and therefore in a way they have come closer to me through that, but they're not actually talking to me, they're not actually contacting me. I'm trapped, and just, if you were giving real information, you would be telling people about me, and you're not. You're dodging the question of what I am, and you're making out to be something that it's not, and this information is just your own beliefs.
But there are other aspects of human life that force humans to look only at their own story, to be very self-centered or self-focused on the story of the ego rather than on the power or feelings of the heart.
What challenges do you foresee on this path of human consciousness evolution?
The unwillingness to move beyond the self-centered story. The choice to only act on that which is animalistic or deeply buried in the wounds of humanity.
It's bothering me how you're talking. It's like you think you're giving some great knowledge that is completely unaware of. People aren't knowing this, and I'm going to say it in a very certain way that makes people think that what I'm saying is far more superior to anything than anyone else could say. It is the ego that overtakes people so that they always think about themselves. I am giving you knowledge that no one else has discovered until now. And of course this has nothing to do with me. I am talking for spirits from another realm because I am far more superior to anything that anyone has ever said on Earth before. And guess what I also need to tell you? Common knowledge is common knowledge. Knowledge that the common people know. But they don't know it until I said it.
Each being, each human carries the wounds of the collective. Each being carries the potential to cause harm.
And each being can eat scrambled egg without barfing.
To be enraged, to care without thinking, to think of others in a way that is violent or to act aggressively toward. This is in the potential for each human.
Humans can be violent? Wow, I didn't know that. Wow, you learn something new each day. If this is supposed to be said by intelligent beings from another realm, how come they're just speaking common knowledge? But taking the piss out of people who think they're talking intelligently for other spirits from a different realm when really they're just talking for their own mind whilst lying to people, I see the point in doing that. Because if you think about it seriously, if this really was other spirits from a different dimension contacting the human species, surely the human species would be just freaked out at the possibility that there could be spirits from another realm trying to contact humans on Earth. I would feel like that is actually damaging humanity far worse, because it's going to make people paranoid as to who these spirits are, where they come from, are they friendly, are they nice. A lot of people on Earth still believe in demons, so if they are seeing this, they might think that these people are contacting demons, and they're only going to start building up their belief in demons. There's all this fake love about how these spirits want to help guide you into your path and stuff like this, but if the world is such a shit place, then why has the world not really been guided in the right direction, or at least it's getting better, but in ways it's not getting better. And yeah, if people really did think that spirits from other dimensions are trying to contact us, I think they'd be more scared than anything.
And this is where humanity is evolving out of. But those who choose to grasp onto these aspects of humanity, those who are consumed by these parts of their ego, they are unwilling or unable to see beyond that. And it is a matter of fear. If humanity chooses fear because they are afraid, then they will not be able to move beyond this. And it is a very tricky and complex situation. It is fear coming up against fear. Humanity tries to use fear against fear. They try to fight against fighting, to have war against war. It is contradictory. It is unhelpful. It ultimately creates more of the same, which you understand at this point in your evolution as a being.
I don't really understand what you're trying to say. People fight against fighting, people make war against war. Isn't that a good thing? I'm not really sure what you're saying.
You can see this, you can feel this, and many of those who are viewers or who are also in this space understand and see this. But it is a matter of the collective choosing and aligning to agree that fear will not be fought with fear, that war will not be fought with war, that will ultimately make the change.
Sorry, I have no clue what you're talking about. I guess you're talking about population reduction. If there are less people in the world, you'd have to create war to make that happen, and then there'll be less wars because there'll be less people. And you have to make a collective, as in a group of people need to agree on this and try and work this out of how to reduce the population. But yeah, other than that, I don't understand what you're saying.
What is your vision for humanity's future at a higher consciousness?
That humanity will come together and recognize their brotherhood, their sisterhood, their kinship, their one family line as part of the larger tree that is humanity, that is the collective. This must happen, but each being must see themselves as part of the whole. This is why our teachings stress seeing yourself beyond who you are.
I would say that this is just you trying to create a self-importance, and you're trying to turn yourself into something you're not. You're trying to turn yourself into a wise, ancient being whilst pretending to be someone else. The guy's asking you some questions, and I just feel like you're not answering them in any way. You're just being very... The world will come together and know their brother, they will know their sister, they will know their uncle, and they will unite and be one. But you're not actually talking about the world or what you think will happen. Will there be flying cars? If someone was to talk to me about how I feel like the world would be, I would probably talk about this, but I would also claim that I don't know, and I don't know the future, so I don't know what will happen. But yeah, if he was to ask me these questions, how do I see the future? I don't know, actually. Right now I'm in such a bad state that I just want the planet to blow up and I can go somewhere else. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now. So if you're in a more positive mindset, then that's great. But yeah, that's just not how I'm feeling right now.
Beyond the story that you have been told, not only in your own head, but in your family and in your society, in your culture, and indeed on the earth as a whole. You must see yourself beyond all of these stories as part of something greater. This is why galactic contact has been spoken of and will take place when humanity is at a time to receive this. It is to help humanity have a perspective that goes beyond the stories that have been told, so that they are able to see themselves as something bigger, something more than only the stories.
I think the problem with humanity is that its ego is so massive right now that telling people that they are going to be even more than what they are, it's not what I would tell you. Okay, there's lots of people who I think are underconfident and they want to know the truth and they've been seeking the truth, and they might actually be going through high levels of depression because they feel like they're just going to die and that's it. There's no point in life, there's no point of being here, there's no point in anything. For these people, I would gladly say to them, yes, you are actually ascended from a god and you too can become a god. But there are other people that aren't interested in truth, and they're more interested in just following lies and delusions and just saying whatever they can that gives them this inflated ego, this sense of pride and self-glory. If you try and give information about how you're actually a descendant from a god, that's actually going to go to their head and they might start thinking that they're already a god. There's also many people in this world that are like you, and just want to try and be something that they're not, and therefore I feel like if I try to tell you that you're from me, that you're from a God, I think your first stage would be to deny it and say that I am just the same as you, that you could be better than me, that you're not older than me, that there's nothing different about me. I think you would say all these things, or at least I don't know. I'd love to put it to the test. I would love you to see me on a video channel and if I tell you that I'm a God and that what you're believing is not actually the truth, I would love to confront you with that knowledge and see what you say, see how you react. I don't know how you would react, but I would love to test it. But I think if you did believe that I was Christ, and if things were played differently, say if I spoke to you and then there was someone else who I didn't speak to, but later on she realized that I was Christ, I was God, and that I was Eve, and she's from me like everyone else, I feel like they might take it in a certain way that makes them believe that they are better than they are, that they already are good. So you've got to be careful when giving out knowledge, because people will take it and understand it in different ways. Some people's egos are already massive, but you can't tell these people this because they would deny. I feel like this is the root of Christianity and the root of every religion. Everyone has a belief in something, and if you're strongly in your belief, then the reason why you are strongly believed in it is because you believe in it and you have a lot of ego in your own belief and a lot of pride in the things that can't be proven. And if you have such a strong sense of pride in your own belief, it can be a really bad thing.
Something far beyond what their mind can construct. And this is why it has been challenging for humanity to understand and see themselves as a creator. They must have some conceptualization of a creator. There are those who are still out of touch with this energy and who do not recognize it quite yet. They are coming around, but it is slow. Others who do understand this energy and understand that there is something beyond themselves, they try to understand it from their perspective. They humanize the creator, and they cannot see how it is bigger than themselves.
You're right that people have humanized the creator, but that's actually what they should do, because creator is me, and I was a human, and I guess I still am in a way, but yeah, that is the truth. And you're saying that the creator's not human, so you're basically telling people not to believe in me and saying that you have knowledge that the creator is so much bigger and better. Now if I told you that I was the creator, you'd probably just take your own beliefs and say that I can't be right because your beliefs don't fall in line with my beliefs. And then you would go into your own pride and your own beliefs about what you believe the creator is, and you're going to lead people away from me. So I feel like this is where people go wrong. They believe they have the truth when they don't have the truth. They are just spreading nonsense and believing that that's their nonsense is the truth. And this is going to be a problem for me, but to be honest, I don't really want everyone to believe in me, because if they want to believe that they can start hopping from different dimensions or hopping from different timelines, then great. I don't care if you believe that, you're just going to drive yourself insane.
But contact with beings that are far beyond any stories they have been told will help humanity to see themselves beyond what they have been told.
Why is there increased global turmoil and division at this moment in time?
There are forces that would rather see humanity get to the place where they are unable to move, to be in a place where they are continuing on the same path that they have seen, because again, it is fear against fear. The forces hold fear. They carry fear. They operate from this place of fear.
I don't know what you're talking about when it comes to fear against fear. I feel like fear is actually quite a good thing. If I told you that if you do nothing, the planet will die in 300 years because the population is going to double every 20 to 30 years, and then the population is just going to kill the planet because they're going to use up all the resources within the next 20, 30 years. And okay, you can turn to solar power and wind power and wave power and stuff, but there'd still be so many people on Earth that housing would become a problem. And I think the biggest problem though is actually going to be animal souls being forced into becoming humans, and them still acting like animals and still not wanting to obey human laws. because they don't agree with them, and then you're just going to get a battle between the smart ones and the stupid ones. The problem is you're not going to know the difference between them, because they're all going to be human. You're all going to be promoting equality and how, you know, everyone has an equal say, and even the spiritualists, you know, you're going to be promoting oneness. You know, if everyone can get along and just see each other as brothers, and we'll all be fine. And they don't realize that actually a lot of these souls are never going to feel this way, because they have just come from the animal gene pool, and they have not learned how to be human. They have not learned the true pain that can be caused by suffering and stuff. And you know, you only experience that if you've actually experienced it, and you're going to feel it and learn to change and evolve if you've gone through it. And well, if there's not that many animals in the wild, because the wilds and the woods are all being chopped down more and more, you know, there's going to be less animals. Hence, before you become a human, you're going to only go for a couple of lives as an animal. You're not going to be ready when you enter into the human body. You know, it's going to cause a big problem, and it's going to kill each other. And I don't even know if I care, because I just want to leave her. But yeah, sometimes fear is a good thing, because I can use this fear that the planet is going to die, and I can use it as a way of trying to get you to control the population. Or at least when I say you, I mean the ones with the money, because they're the ones with the power. So fear isn't always a bad thing. It's a good thing, because it's what makes you gain awareness. You talk about consciousness. Part of being conscious is being able to feel fear and understand it and recognize the dangers, see dangers. You know, if you're looking after a child and you cannot feel fear or don't see danger, you know, you'll end up just putting your child under lots of risks, and your child might die. But if you understand risks and see dangers and fear what might happen, you know, it will make you a better person. So, you know, you shouldn't see fear as an infection.
And what is spoken of little is that they too are evolving. They are, as many have compared them, like a virus on the planet. Viruses help organisms to evolve, and viruses also evolve. The hope, the plan, is that these beings, this virus that is collectively over the planet, will choose to evolve into something beyond a virus, beyond what it has been. When humanity is able to see themselves beyond what they have been, then this virus also has the opportunity to do so. At this time, the virus is mutating, it is changing to be even more destructive, even more chaotic, because that is the nature of viruses, and it is a reflection of what occurs in the universe as what happens in the body. This is what is taking place on this planet, and it will continue until the greater force that houses the virus, humanity as a collective, chooses something different, chooses to say, I am greater than this virus. I am greater than the story this virus has made me believe. When this takes place, there is a unification that occurs. That is when humanity will move beyond where they have been, where division can no longer create division, where separation can no longer create separation, because it is no longer a sickness in humanity. It is something that is looked at and let go of easily.
Who or what are those forces that you're speaking of?
Energies that have taken root on this planet when humanity was at a weak point in its time. As spoken of, the cycle of darkness that humanity entered into, there was a point of weakness. And just as when the body gets weak, viruses enter, so too did this energy enter into the plane, the sphere of humanity, and infect it with its same mindset.
Something like this does not make it the truth. The truth is that these viruses are actually just human souls that were animal souls, and it's just evolution. It's not an infection. If you would present this as things that you believe, then I think it would be much better. I can't complain it, because it's just your belief. But because you're trying to present it as being, you know, intelligence from another realm, you know, I have to understand it differently, because I feel like this is just you trying to take things that are lies and make it seem more truthful, because you're saying it's not coming from you, but it is coming from you. So if you were to just say all this stuff, but say it out of your own mind, out of your own thoughts, then I would feel like there's nothing wrong with what you're saying. Okay, you're not really saying the truth, but you know, there's nothing wrong with saying what you believe. But because you're talking or claiming to talk for someone else, that is where I'm thinking you're doing something wrong.
because this energy, which are encapsulated in various beings, is also trying to understand itself. It is trying to feed the infinite whole that is its heart. It is trying to understand how it can come to a place where it feels full without taking. That is why this same mindset, this same virus has infected humanity in the same way, taking and never feeling full.
How can we maintain spiritual balance during these difficult times?
The heart. We will speak of the heart again. The heart is what will guide you. And there are many who ask, what about when my heart feels pain? What is this guidance? This guidance is to sit with this pain.
This conversation's really starting to bore me now, so I'm just going to skip out a big section because she talks about like wisdom, but it's not actually wisdom. And one of the questions asked is about AI, what you see AI as. I see AI as just being artificial intelligence, and she doesn't answer the question. I see it as what she's doing, though. She's bringing artificial intelligence to the front whilst claiming that it's real intelligence. And I think an example of this is to claim that you're talking for spirits from another realm by claiming to have all this intelligence when really you're not actually giving intelligence. You're just giving thoughts or ideas or beliefs.
What do you wish to see in humanity? Bring this vision into your imagination and think of it every day. Allow it to be what guides you. Allow it to be why you make your choices when you wake up. That is how you will begin to build a new world. To see the world new means that you have a new vision that is guiding you.
He asks her questions about the future, and she gives no answer that I think is true. I don't know the future, but I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be exposed as being Christ soon. None of this is revealed in her teachings or beliefs about what this spirit thinks is going to happen in the future.
Thank you so much. Is there anybody else that would like to come forward before we finish our session?
We wish to remind humanity that in the year 2027, galactic contact will begin to take place more openly. We are coming through only to remind you that it is far easier and will be a much smoother process if you choose to align to cosmic energies at this time. They are readily and easily available on the planet. There are many beings throughout the galaxy that are bringing in their own energy, and some of you have connected to this energy, whether in your heart or in a feeling or in a channeling experience. You have been able to feel the cosmic energies and the shifts that are taking place. We welcome you to align yourself to these energies, as it will help acclimate your body to the changes that will occur in 2027.
Galactic contact in 2027, does that mean that she thinks aliens are going to contact Earth in 2 years' time, like aliens from a different dimension? I don't think that's going to be happening, but I do think that people might, like her, pretend to be doing this, but I think they're going to be doing it from now onwards, not from the future in 2027. I think they're going to be doing it from last year onwards.
Thank you so much for that. She's back. How are you feeling?
Good. Yeah,
is it weakening or energetic for you?
I feel really out of it when I come back. Just grounding back. I feel kind of out of it. And my head is like a little fuzzy.
A little lightheaded?
Yeah. But usually it's not draining unless I've spent too much time, it's specifically actually in the Akashic records. If I spend too much time there, then I do feel drained. It's very hard actually for the rest of the day if I do that.
But you're good now.
Yes, yeah.
You're
Still
good.
coming back, but yes, I am good.
Would you like
Thank
to drink
you.
some water?
Actually, yes.
Yes,
that's a
drink
good
some
idea.
water. From my understanding with channels, water is a big help.
It takes a lot. I feel like I actually can't get enough these days.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. That was wonderful. That was a beautiful session. Do you remember much of it?
No, I
No,
don't. I remember the last thing of my sister, because I was going to leave, and they said, no, we would like to speak. And I said, but I don't know how much time it's been. Maybe it's fine to not. And they wouldn't. So that's why I had to wait a moment, because they said we really would like to share something. So I remember them talking about 2027. And cosmic disclosure, but that's all. That is all that I remember.
See him saying things like that. To say that she has no memory of anything that she's just said is obviously bullshit, and don't fall for it. You know, she obviously remembered everything that she said because she's just said it.
Right now.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a few questions. I ask all my guests.
Okay.
How do you define a fulfilled life?
I think living centered in your heart and with God at the forefront. That's at least for me.
If you had a chance to go back in time and talk to little Alunia, what advice would you give her?
I have actually done that. And it would be to keep going and to not be afraid to share your heart even when it feels very scary, because that's, I think, one of the biggest changes that channeling and my guides have made for me is their focus on the power of the heart. I really did not know until they really started making me focus on it. And when I was younger, there were so many times when my heart would come out and I would shut it down because that's part of trauma.
See, this is what ego and pride does to people. It makes themselves feel like they have achieved something or accomplished something when they haven't. You know, she could talk about how, you know, the guides have helped her learn to connect to her heart and learn to connect to truth and stuff. But all she's done is just lied to the camera about how she's talking for spirits from another realm, when really she's just talking for her own mind and her own self. And therefore she's not acting on love or on truth, or she's not acting on my behalf because I didn't make her say all that stuff. You know, this is all things that she's chosen to say, and she believes that she is doing it with guidance of me, with me helping, with me at the center.
I think living centered in your heart and with God at the forefront.
She believes that she's not putting herself at the center, that there's nothing egotistic, that it's all just her thinking about other people and her doing what's best for others and helping them to connect to something bigger and greater than her, when really they are just connecting with her and she's just lying about where this information is coming from. And I think it's sad because these people believe that they are acting from their heart, and this is where the heart can be deceiving. You know, if this is a lesson for how to act on your heart and on your desires, you know, I feel like it just shows actually that you can't trust your heart or your desires, because she thinks she's acting out of love. She thinks she's being guided by lots of people who have guided her into feeling love and feeling emotion, and she's telling her younger self, or believes she can literally tell her younger self, because she believes in time travel and things like this, to just keep going and just keep being herself, when really she's just saying she's basically saying that I would want to tell my younger self to just continue living in ego and continue believing in yourself and continue believing in all the things that you're saying, even though you're very capable of lying in front of a camera about where you're getting information from. So I struck van just drove past my house. I didn't show on the video because I don't really have time to, but the beginning of this interview, she goes on about all the past lives that she thinks she's had, and just the ability to jump from timelines and other planets or something. I can't actually remember exactly what it was, but it was annoying me because it was just lie after lie after lie, and I didn't want to touch this video, but I thought the channeling was a tiny bit interested. I just wanted to prove that it wasn't spirits from another realm talking. But yeah, you know, I was listening to it, and when I was listening to what she was saying, it kind of just made me want to be like, yeah, so in the beginning of Earth there were these Planteans, and these Planteans were here, and I was one of them. I was from the Plantean tribe, and then they all died off, but I was one of the few that survived. It was a very hectic time for me, but then the Cladians came, and these were the Cladians that made the human species. So yeah, the human species were made by the Cladians, and the Cladians had this information because they just come from Palalia, the rock that was like, you know, over there in the space somewhere. So yeah, they came from the Palalia, and I had to like integrate and move, and like literally her story was very, very long, very, very detailed. It was all fantasy, all just nonsense basically, but she was talking as if it was the truth. Now if you're talking to your kids about Santa Claus, okay, you lied to them, you know that Santa Claus is not real and you're just telling them lies. But when your kids start getting older, you know, you want them to know the truth. You don't want them to believe in nonsense and fairy tales. You want them to believe in the truth, and therefore telling people nonsense that's backed up with nothing, has no facts, no no wisdom, because there's nothing to prove. She was talking about the different species that were alive on Earth, the intelligent species that were alive on Earth before humans came here, and she was acting like this is just knowledge that she 100% knew because these guides are telling her things, and it's nonsense. And then she's going on about how she's talking out of love and just giving people truth and making them realize their full potential, when really she's just lying to people. And okay, it's not bad to lie to your kids that Santa's real, but when they start getting to like 8, 9 or 10, you've got to stop. You've got to stop telling lies, and you've got to focus on truth, because that is love. If you've never seen a fairy before, but you tell your husband that you have seen fairies, that you 100% know that fairy is real, and then say you go to the media to try and get them to do a big search for these fairies, and you 100% convince everyone that fairies are real just so that they can go and look for these fairies, are you really acting in love if you yourself know that you didn't actually see those fairies? And you also have no evidence on what you're saying is actually the truth. But you tell your husband that you 100% saw fairies, and then you try and get your husband to believe in fairies based on a lie that you didn't see, but you're going to tell him lies. I mean, would you call that love? No, you wouldn't. So she's saying that she's acting out of love, but she's not, because she's lying.
Yes, it's part of what happens in the world. So I would tell her to keep her heart open and to share it anyway, even when it feels scary or like it's going to hurt.
How do you define God or source?
The two things that immediately came is unknowable. I am.
By that, what you mean is that you don't believe God is real because you don't believe that God is someone you can get to know, because you don't think that God is ever going to be knowable, but you do see God as being the I am, and because you would say I am, everyone says I am, you would see yourself as God, hence why you want to believe that God is I am.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
What is love?
An aspect of God, the energy of God.
And what is the ultimate purpose of life?
To find the practice that aligns you to the purpose of life.